Okay, so let's let's unpack this.
Mm.
I think if you work in, a global company or really any project with diverse
Yeah.
teams, you know that feeling.
Mm.
That meeting environment, whether it's in person or just digital, it can create this subtle but very real sense of anxiety.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's that pressure to be perfectly clear, perfectly professional, especially when the stakes feel high.
And it's more than just vocabulary, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just knowing the words. It's about knowing the right phrases, the ones that convey confidence and respect, like instantly.
Right.
And our sources, especially this one guide to professional English, they really tackle this head on. They sort of reframe the whole thing. A meeting is just a conversation with a purpose. A high stakes one, maybe, but still just a conversation.
I like that. That distinction feels like everything. So, our mission today is really to take what we've learned from these sources and give you, the listener, the actual language you need.
For those three key areas.
Right. Exactly. The formal meeting, the super fast daily stand up, and all that quick digital chat. This is kind of your shortcut to sounding not just correct, but strategic.
And we're moving beyond, just classroom theory. We're looking at real-world examples, at the structure of the language itself.
Why some phrases just work better than others.
Precisely. How using specific phrasing can really shift how you're perceived. You go from being a passive participant to someone who's a proactive problem solver.
Okay, let's jump straight into the deep end then. Mastering the formal team meeting.
Right.
You've got the floor. It's your turn to give an update. The number one thing is structure. You just can't waffle.
That's the key. And it's funny, we often think being polite means using lots of soft, vague language. But here, politeness is actually clarity. It's efficiency,
So when you're reporting that a task is done, you need to be direct.
direct and future-focused.
So give us that model. What's the structure the source lays out?
It's actually a really simple two-step. First, the finished task.
Okay.
Second, the immediate next step.
Okay, an example.
For example, I finished the draft of the new website analysis, full stop. Then, I'll send it for review later today.
I see. The first part gives closure. The second part sets a clear expectation. No ambiguity.
And it shows you're on top of it. But then there's the next part. You've delivered the work, but you need to engage the team.
Without sounding too demanding or maybe too passive.
Exactly. And this is where the source highlights a really crucial, polite phrase. Please let me know if you have any feedback.
So simple.
It's so simple, but it's strategic. It shifts the whole interaction. You're not just informing people anymore. You're actively inviting them to collaborate.
You're framing it as ready for the team to look at. That feels very professional.
It is. Now let's talk about the words themselves. Action verbs.
Right, because so many people use vague language here, like we're sort of done with the report.
Which just sounds so tentative.
Hmm.
Action verbs convey control and efficiency. Think about it, using words like completed, requested, or plan to. That's all active voice,
An active voice assigns responsibility.
directly. So instead of that vague phrase, you get something like, the design team completed the layout. The client requested a change. We plan to finish revisions by Friday. See?
Yeah, it's so much clearer. You know exactly what was done, who did it, and what's happening next. No filler.
Okay, but here's the really tricky part. Addressing problems.
Everyone hits a roadblock.
Everyone. And the lesson here is how to talk about it without sounding, I don't know, negative or panicked.
Or like you're not taking it seriously.
That's the worst one. The source gives us a fantastic formula for this, and it's all about being solution-oriented.
So you don't just state the problem.
You never just state the problem. You pair it immediately with the solution you're already working on. You lead with the issue, but you pivot instantly to taking ownership.
Okay, let me push back on that for a second. What if you're in a culture that values like radical honesty? Doesn't jumping straight to a fix maybe downplay how serious the problem is?
That's a really sharp question. And the source actually covers that through what you could call mitigation language. The formula isn't about hiding the problem. It's about showing you're already managing it.
How does that look in practice?
So the model phrase they use is a perfect balance. I had a small difficulty with the data file, but I'm already working on a fix.
Ah, so the word small is doing a lot of work there.
A lot of work. You acknowledge the hurdle, but you frame yourself as already handling it. It shows responsibility. You're not just yelling fire.
You're saying you've already got the extinguisher.
Exactly. And that changes everything about your status in that meeting. You're a problem solver, not just a problem reporter.
And that clarity, that structure, that's vital for the meeting's outcome too. Which brings us to action items.
Famous action items. They're so much more than a to-do list. They are documented commitments.
They define who does what next.
Right. They ensure that something actually happens after the meeting ends. It's about accountability.
And the language has to be just as definite then, not tentative.
Absolutely. The language has to signal certainty, you should say. My action item is to update the report by Thursday.
Not, I'll try to update the report.
Never. No, I guess I could, or I'll try. That definitive phrasing reinforces that this is a commitment that came out of the discussion.
Okay, so that's the formal meeting. But so much of the modern office runs on speed. The daily stand-up. It's like the total opposite. It demands ruthless efficiency.
It really is. Stand-ups are all about a very, very strict format. The rule of 3 is gospel. You only answer 3 questions.
And you have to deliver them like a quick punch, right? What you did yesterday.
What you're doing today.
And if you have any blockers.
And the language needs to be just as fast. Yesterday, reviewed sales report. Today, worked on summary. Blockers. No blockers.
It's not the time for a long story.
Not at all. It's a quick status check. It's designed to spot bottlenecks fast.
Speaking of bottlenecks, this is often where you have to ask for help. So how do you phrase that blocker without sounding, demanding?
Or passive-aggressive. That's where you have to be really strategic. You need to communicate what you're dependent on, but without assigning blame.
So you don't say, I need you to fix this.
Oh, that would land like a lead balloon.
Yeah.
You want to use phrases that frame the need more gently. Try something like, I need help with the formatting.
Or if you're waiting on something.
A great one is, I'm waiting for the updated file from marketing. The term blocker itself is helpful here. It's this technical term that just signals to the team, I can't move forward until this is resolved. It takes some of the personal sting out of it.
Okay, what about communication gaps? Someone's talking way too fast, or their connection is bad and you miss a key word. I think people worry that if they ask someone to repeat themselves, they'll sound like they weren't paying attention.
That's a real fear. But our source is really clear on this. Clarity is always better than just nodding along. Asking for clarification shows you're diligent, not that you're incompetent.
So you can just interrupt politely.
Yeah, you have to. A simple, sorry, could you repeat that? Or if you just missed a bit, what was the last part?
Then no one will mind.
No one will mind. It's much, much worse to wait until the end and then admit you missed something important. A quick, polite interjection is always the way to go.
All right, let's shift gears to the lifeblood of the modern office. Fast digital communication.
All the chat platforms and quick emails.
Exactly. It's not just scheduled meetings anymore. It's this constant flow. And in chat, brevity is king.
But we need to understand why it works. In a summary or a status channel, you're using extreme shorthand to keep things moving.
Give us some of those super short examples.
For status updates, you can just write completed first draft or in progress data review. And for what's next, finalize slides.
It's communication boiled down to its absolute core.
It is. You save everyone time, but, and this is a big but, speed should never ever come at the cost of courtesy.
Especially when you're messaging a coworker directly. We've all gotten that one-word message that's just, help!
Or my personal favorite, you free.
Exactly. And unless you know that person really well, it just comes across as so abrupt.
So what are the polished ways to do it?
Well, you frame it as a polite request for their time, for their help.
Right. Start with something like, hi, do you have a quick moment for a question? Or could you please help me with this file when you have a chance?
That little bit of softening makes all the difference. It respects their time.
And that extends to email, too. A clear subject line is part of that same professional clarity.
Using brackets to signal what's needed.
Yes. Something like action required, review by EOD, or just FYI, draft attached. It helps people prioritize instantly.
And let's not forget the other side of asking for help, showing appreciation.
So important and so often overlooked.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be a big thing.
No, just keep it simple.
Thanks so much for your help, or I really appreciate it. That's all you need.
Okay, last thing here. Quick sync calls, they have their own special language, don't they?
They absolutely do. These are the phrases you need just to manage the flow of the conversation.
So number 1 is getting aligned.
Right. And for that, we use the phrase, we're on the same page. It's just a quick way to confirm everyone understands and agrees before you move on.
And then there's the dreaded technical stuff.
The classics.
We have to know how to flag them politely.
It's pretty straightforward. If someone's mic is off, it's just, you're on mute.
And if their audio is choppy,
you're breaking up. And you can add, could you slow down a bit if you need to. It's functional language.
And when you're done speaking, How do you pass the torch smoothly?
You signal the transition. You don't just stop talking. You say something like, I think that covers my update. Now I'll hand it over to the design team.
It prevents that awkward silence.
Exactly.
And the phrase to signal the whole thing is ending, which we're about to use right now.
Let's wrap up. It just means let's finish.
Let's wrap up.
And if we synthesize everything we've talked about today, from the formal meetings to the quick chats, the core lesson is, well, it's pretty clear.
It's being simple, clear, and polite.
Simple, clear, and polite. That's the combination that really works in a modern workplace. It's where efficiency and respect meet.
It's so powerful. And by using these specific phrases, you ensure you always sound professional. You gain confidence not from knowing a million words, but from mastering the right structures for the right moments.
Precisely. And, we've spent a lot of time on what to say, especially that solution-oriented approach when a problem comes up.
Right, where you state the issue and immediately follow with the fix.
It did. It brought up that interesting tension point. So maybe here's a final thought for you to explore on your own.
Okay.
In which professional settings, maybe long-term strategic planning, or a really critical risk analysis meeting, in which of those settings might that solution-first approach actually be a bad thing?
When would it get in the way of deeper thinking?
Exactly. When does the need for just radical transparency about the real depth of a problem, when does that outweigh the need to immediately show that you have everything under control?
Something to mull over until our next deep dive? When presenting an unfiltered problem might actually lead to a better collective solution?